Top of the top, top of the morning. You know the vibe. First and foremost, make sure you give God the glory for opening your eyes and putting air in your lungs. Secondly, wake up, be positive, do right by your family, do right by your responsibilities. As a man, that's your only job, for real, for real. Now, let's talk about some sports. Of course, I'm going to give out some picks a little later. I'm up. Y'all know what I'm up to do. I'm up to give out some picks. But first, I want to talk about Bronny, because I've been telling people for so long that the issue with Bronny is that Bronny's not getting no minutes. And I don't care who you is on God's green earth. If you're not getting no minutes, how you going to have any production? So before this game last night, Bronny played, I believe 14 games. And he played in over 14 games. Didn't start none of them. And I believe in them 14 games, Bronny only had, a grand total of like 47 to 49 minutes in 14 games. So let's get a clear understanding about the NBA. An NBA game is 48 minutes. So if he played in 14 games and he played a grand total of 47 minutes to 49 minutes, then that just shows that the main reason why his production is so low is because he's not getting no burn. And then we just gotta have common sense. He's a guard. He's a guard. He's like one of the backup point guards. You got LeBron playing point guard. You got Austin Reeves playing point guard. Now you got Luka playing point guard. Gabe Vincent is a point guard. You got almost 4 to 5 players who's going to be in the game on the regular before they even think about playing Bronny, because they third in the West. It's not like they a bottom feeder team. They got a top seed in the West. So you have to play your starters and worry about keeping your position in the playoff run than the development of Bronny. So I said all that to say this. It's people like Stephen A. This is why I don't like Stephen A. Because Stephen A. is an old school coon type dude. He really a hater. He sit on the net. He sit on TV all the time. And all he does is hate on the modern day game. He doesn't show no love to the modern day game. This is what I don't like about Stephen A. When he talks about the modern day game, he always slights it. He always talks about this player this, this player that. But when you hear him talk about the 80s and 90s, which was some of the worst basketball that was ever played, wasn't no real talent in them leagues. Like, listen, man, I'm going to be real with you. You could take the wackest dudes from this era right now, and you could take the wackest dudes from the 80s and 90s. I swear to God, the wackest dudes from this era gonna blow them niggas out by at least 50, because they couldn't score. They couldn't shoot. People always want to sit here and say, oh, the 80s and 90s was a physical era. The reason why it was a physical era, because them dudes was not skillful. Them dudes was not talented. The dudes who y'all knew in the 80s and 90s for being nice was the dudes that was nice. Nobody else was nice, because one thing about the NBA and sports, they're going to market their most nicest players. If you go and check the 80s, you probably heard about 5 players from the 80s. If you go and check the 90s, you may not have even heard about 5 players. But in this era, you got dudes like, let me give you somebody that's not no superstar. But I know for a fact he would go out and murder them. A dude like Lauri Markkanen from the Utah Jazz, the white boy. I guarantee you he would go out there and he would smoke them niggas from the 80s and the 70s, because they wasn't skillful. They just didn't have no game that transition in the buckets. That's why they was out there wilding and fouling people, because they didn't have no other skill. If I play basketball, anybody who know me know I play basketball. Like, I really, really hoop. Like, if I ain't get shot in my leg, who knows where I could have went. But in basketball, when you're a skillful player, and you have a high offense, defense and wilding is something that you don't do, because too much of your energy is being burnt on the offensive end. So them dudes in the 80s and 90s that was just running around there being wild and doing all this fouling, they was doing that because they didn't have no other skill. In today's game, they will shoot you out the gym. Like, people want to blame Curry and say, well, it's Curry fault, the reason why everybody's shooting up these threes. Yes, I will agree with that. But you still have to make these threes. And these dudes are making these threes because they are better. They are far better shooters than the dudes from the 80s and 90s. And these dudes is bigger, faster, can jump higher, and got more handle. Cool. Back to Stephen A. Stephen A will sit there and he will glorify dudes from the 80s and 90s who never won nothing. If you sit there and let him talk about Patrick Ewing, he'll talk so godly about Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing never did nothing, like didn't do nothing. But he'll sit there and dog players of today's games and, oh, because the game this, oh, because of the marketing this, oh, this, that, and the third. Man, stop it, bro. Them dudes from back then, bro, could not do anything with these dudes today. That's why when you listen to them talk about who from the 80s and 90s was godly, or who they think will come back from that era and dominate in today's game, the only person they say is Jordan. They won't say Shaq. They won't say Hakeem. They won't bring up Magic. They only say Jordan because the level of offensive talent in this game today, the only one who had O like that back then was Jordan. So that's the only reason they only speak of Jordan, because Jordan was the only one who had an O comparable to today's game. Cool. Stephen A, I guarantee you this morning, when Stephen A gets on First Take, or if he's on Get Up, watch him try to slight Bronny every way he can. And this is what he's gonna try to do. He's gonna try to say, yeah, he had 17, but who else was playing for the Lakers? It don't matter who else was playing for the Lakers, you bozo. On the other side, Giannis was out there. The Bucks had all their players except for Dame Lillard. So it don't matter who was out there for the Lakers. It mattered about who was out there for the Bucks. Brook Lopez was out there. Giannis was out there. Kyle Kuzma was out there. All they main role players and stars was out there except for Dame Lillard. And everybody knows. We're not even going to sit here and say, well, who's the better player, Lillard or Giannis? If you even got to sit there and entertain that, I don't never even want to talk to you about basketball ever in life. So, with that being said, just watch that man get on ESPN this morning, and he gonna find every way in his possible will to slight Bronny. And that's what I mean about why I don't like Stephen A, because he's a hater and he does it blatantly and he doesn't even notice it, bro. Like, you really a hater, bro. Like, that kid is a kid, bro. And the main thing I hate about people is they want to sit there and say, oh, well, if it wasn't for Bron using his power and his will to get Bronny in the league, then Bronny would have never... Man, stop all that, man. We've been watching Bronny hoop from Sierra Canyon, bro. Like, niggas is acting like LeBron just really picked up his son off the street and forced him to get in the NBA. Stop it, bro. He was hooping for one of the most watch high schools in the whole nation. He was on Sierra Canyon. He hooped there. Then he went to USC. We got to just stop sitting here and acting like, okay, yeah, well, Bron may have used his hand, but at the same time, the dude comes from a basketball background. And this is why I be hating the whole Bron used his hand stuff. Yo, bruh, the whole NBA draft this year was terrible. Y'all can't tell me none of the players that was drafted in the top 5 or the top 10 without Google or ESPN. But we want to sit here and say, oh, well, yeah, Bron used his power to get his son drafted 55th. Shit, if you want to ask me, nigga, if Bron would have really used his power, his son would have won in the top 5. You see what I'm saying? That's really using your power, because his son come from a basketball background. It's not like we never seen that boy play basketball. Then look at the other day. His son Bryce, the game that Bron went to, Bryce shot 1 for 9. Yo, anybody who watches basketball knows that Bryce is the far better son than Bronny, bro. Bryce be blacking. But now, as soon as he go 1 for 9, now everybody want to say, oh yeah, look at Bronny, look at Bryce going 1 for 9. What about all them other games when he blacked? Why y'all ain't say nothing about the games when he was snapping, but y'all want to say something about the one game when he had a bad game? This world just be so quick to want to hate because they don't like LeBron. And that's what's messed up, because people as adults are sitting here and handing him the criticism. They're handing Bronny, the criticism because they don't like his father, which is insane to me. That's insane to me. A lot of y'all just dead ass jealous because y'all dad ain't do for y'all what Bron did for Bronny. You see what I'm saying? Like, cause anybody with a child, anybody with kids, I don't care who you is, you not never finna sit there and just be cool with anybody critiquing your child, then giving out forced critique, and then not being fair. Because talking about Bronny and his game is cool, but when you want to sit there and talk down on Bronny and only put the magnifying glass on Bronny, I don't care about, oh, because it's the narrative, it makes money. Nah, fair is fair. There's no way you're going to sit here and dog Bronny for whatever Bronny didn't do, but you're not going to sit here and talk about the top 5 picks. Like, I guarantee you, if you ask any other casual basketball fans who's the rookie of the year this year, they can't tell you. If you ask any of the casual basketball fans who went in the top 10, they can't tell you. But if you ask the casual basketball fan what's Bronny's stats or what's Bronny's game high before he had 17, I guarantee you everybody can tell you. And that's what's weird about the whole Bronny thing. And that's what's unfair about the whole Bronny thing. Never in my life have I seen the 55th pick be talked about more than the overall number 1. People want to say, oh, it's because he's Bron's son. Nah, it's because Bron been getting hated on so long, and people just don't like Bron because Bron really did it his own way, and everybody mad at Bron. Nah, bruh. That's weird behavior to me. Don't be mad at Bron. Bron did what any man's supposed to do for his kid, bro. Because one thing I know is when them white people do it, them white people do that at your job so damn fast, you'll be sitting there putting in all kind of pain, suffering, tears, staying over, doing whatever you can to get that position. And then they'll go and pass that position to their kid or one of their cousins. Y'all don't get mad. Y'all sit there and still take your ass to work, right? But y'all want to sit here and act like, oh, it's wrong because Bronny did that for his son. But your boss done probably did that shit 8 different times since you've been hired there. Come on, man. Y'all always hate on it when the black man do it, but then y'all don't say nothing when the white man do it. And to be honest with you, I don't care about if you black, purple, yellow, red, pink, blue. If I could do that for my kids, I'm going to do that. That's what you're supposed to do as a parent. You know the vibes. Early morning, I'm finna post these logs, chat with your boy CHe TK0D3. Go like, share, subscribe. We going up today. Don't worry about it.